Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Let's talk a bit about self-confidence. It's something that is tragically missing in people. Self-confidence. Self-confidence has nothing to do with arrogance. Arrogance means that I don't want to listen to anyone. But actually, there is always an insecurity behind them. Self-confidence means that we learn to just take our steps. Then we can very well be open for guidance, for tips. Without confidence, nothing can be done. We have to have a little confidence that we are doing anything. But we can do things and be always insecure. Am I good? Am I not good? Am I good enough? What are people are going to think about what I'm doing? Or we can just learn not to care about all that. Self-confidence comes when we learn to be in the present and relax. And then on the relative level, we simply take care of the situations as they come. Naturally. Like a little child is not always doubting, but spontaneously acting. Of course, a little child doesn't have any choice in it. That intellect is not yet developed, that can doubt everything. So they function still very spontaneous from moment to moment without always questioning, is it right, is it wrong, should I not? There is nothing wrong with a well-developed intellect. It's very useful. It's a useful tool to be used where it's appropriate, to make decisions that make sense, to behave in a way that it makes sense. But we don't have to misuse that capacity to always doubt everything that we are doing. We can learn in spite of having a developed intellectual capacities to be again as natural as a little child. If there is a situation and we feel something should be done about it, we can just do it without wondering, oh, should I? What are they going to think about it? Am I going to be successful? Am I not going to be successful? Am I going to make a fool out of myself? Just go for it. If we learn to be in the present, if we learn to center in that timelessness of the now and relax in it, then we can do so. Then we can live so. Then we can act so. Again, innocently, like a child. It's not that our capacity to function sanely or reasonably in this world is diminishing because of that. In contrary, Often people have good ideas what to do in a situation, and then that fear of maybe it's not going to be accepted, maybe the people will laugh about it, maybe, then they are not doing what they feel would be appropriate. Self-confidence is necessary to do anything, and we can learn to intensify that confidence by seeing how much we are simply sabotaging that all the time. And then stop doing that. Learn to not do that anymore. Learn not to sabotage our spontaneous innocence anymore. And somehow, sometimes, when we make a bit the foolish thing, so what? And if people laugh about it, so what? Then we laugh along with them. Yeah. What's the big deal? We don't have to always present a perfect image. The more we are concerned about our image, the more we have the tendency to rather screw up things. The less we care about that, the more we can be relaxed and spontaneously just go from moment to moment. And then when we start to get introverted, if we start our journey to come home, let's develop that self-confidence that we have the total right to do so. It is our birthright. Not sabotaging ourselves, maybe I'm not good enough for that. Not sabotaging our sincerity with anything. There can be all these thoughts, but there are so many people who try, so many seekers, and amongst all those seekers, there are very few who really get somewhere. Then how could I? How could I? Yes, I can. Because we have the right to come back to our natural state. It is not something that is forbidden for most and only allowed for a few. Everybody has the full right to come back home to that natural state of existing, to just live playfully, joyously, from moment to moment, to let the actions, the thoughts, the emotions be expression of that inner beauty. Everybody has the right to live like this. For that, we will need courage, because we have been trained not to live like this. It has been put in our mind that we should live in a certain way as it is prescribed by the respective society where we are living in, and that is the right way to live. We can adjust to some extent to that, but it should not be a sabotaging agent that prevents us from being natural. Look how the little kids can get away with anything. People laugh about it because one feels that innocence in it. The same thing that when adults do them, everybody is shocked and appalled. How could they behave like this? little kid says out of that spontaneity things that everybody laughs about it. But if an adult would say it, everybody would say, hey, how can you dare to talk like this? Hmm. We can regain that innocence. We can learn to just be in the present and let the actions be expression of our inner self without always wondering about, is it right, is it wrong, should I not? And in our inner journey, it is the same thing. Yes, I have the right. Yes, I can take the next step. It's always possible. I am the one who is preventing me most. Circumstances may be easier and may be less easy. That is true. But what makes the greatest obstacle is our mind that has been fixed in certain ways, patterns, how we are functioning. It has the tendency that when we are about to let go things that disturb us, then comes immediately a block. But what if I let it go? What fear? How can I exist if I'm not having my usual cage around myself, my mental cage? It needs courage to sincerely work on that, to sincerely go about it to remove that cage. It needs confidence. We can have faith in God. It's the same. If we have sincere faith in God, then also we stop being so concerned about all the little doubts that we can have in the mind about doing this and doing that, about sincerely going to the source, going inside, coming back home, even if maybe the surroundings are not improving so much about it. Faith in God and self-confidence, actually, it's the same thing. In the mind, we may put it like slightly different, but it's the same thing. And we can learn to develop that. We can learn to work on it by observing how we are sabotaging ourselves all the time. And when we see that, we can start to work on it, that we are not simply being pushed by old habits, by old patterns, by old mechanisms. But learn to be alive in the present. The more I'm capable to be in the present, to relax in it, to be centered, even in trying situations, the more self-confidence grows automatically. It's a jewel. Without confidence, nothing is possible. And even if we sometimes try certain things with confidence, and even if we are not capable of doing what we would have liked to do, the very fact that we tried has made us stronger. Not being fixed on the outcome, not being fixed about what it will be present to other people, not expecting the feedback from people, but just being satisfied that I have the capacity. Hmm. Confidence is necessary for every little thing in our daily life. We go and buy some food, we are having at least some confidence that it is good, that it will nourish us, that it is not poison. We go out, drive a car, we have some confidence that the engine is working, that the car will bring us from one place to another, that the motor is not exploding on the way. We go on a journey, go into an airplane. We have to have at least enough confidence to try, and we have confidence that vehicle will bring us to the spot where we are going. It's just when we have to make steps with our own true actions that we have the tendency to sabotage. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not good enough. If I'm not succeeding, what are they going to say about me? Making a fool out of myself. Let's drop all that and just be in the present and function again like a little child, in spite of having the capacity to discriminate intellectually what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, and then choose the path that makes sense and then go with innocence and confidence. Okay, I stop talking about that subject now. Hario, Hario. And I'm asking you, my friends, 21. Is there anyone who would like to come in and say something? Anton, hello. Do you want to say something?
Hello, Werner.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay, okay.
I have a question. What is the prayer for you? And what is the difference between the verbal and wordless prayer? Do you pray now or no? And can you pray now or you can't pray? Ah, the God.
You asking me personally whether I can, or you ask that as a general question, whether that is a good thing to do, just to be sure what you are asking.
I'm asking all of your uh, types and body, mental, and God in one.
But I mean, asking you, you're asking that as a general question, or you're asking Werner whether he is doing that?
Werner.
I see.
Werner, the God, absolute Werner. There is no difference between Werner and the God.
Yes. I mean, praying is one way to connect with God. And if you feel like praying, by all means pray. And if you feel like praying loud, then you can very well pray in a loud voice. But you can also pray just in your heart, in your thoughts. I guess when you are in a crowd, it makes more sense that you are not praying loud. When you are alone, you do as you prefer. It doesn't make a difference whether you are saying the words or whether you are just connecting with that feeling of devotion, or put also the consciousness into thoughts like words, but the words are not coming out of the mouth. They simply are thoughts. praying is certainly a very useful help, a very useful way of connecting with that divinity. It's not for everybody. Some people feel a bit silly praying, so they don't pray. Then there are other ways to connect. But if that devotional aspect is there and one feels like praying, yes, then by all means pray. If you ask me, it, I'm not so much making prayers during the years when I was struggling. Often I was calling out, God, God, in spite of having basically an arthritic mind, an arthritic conviction, still couldn't help to cry from my heart, please help, what's going on? I'm not getting anywhere. Now it's more that I'm putting intents in the current. That's basically let the things take their course as they go. But sometimes the feeling comes, it's good to put an intent into it, not so much in the form of a prayer as before, but more like just put that will without getting tense about it. Simply to put something creative in the currents of events. It's basically the same as a prayer, it just takes a bit another form. Whether I can cry, I can cry. When I see situations, when I see people suffering, sometimes I cannot hold back my tears. Sometimes more like out of as a memory comes how I felt disconnected, and it started to cry by itself. Even the memory can make me cry. But the crying out of self-pity, that is not more possible. I cannot cry and feel, oh, poor little me, what is happening to me? That is not possible anymore.
So, prayer is to be in a God. Can you do so? Or you feel you are the one, the prayer, and you the one? So, or no?
It's one and it's two. It's a mystery. Like you and I, essentially we are the same and still we are communicating. And so it is with God the same. That that awareness of the divine presence is always there, and yet there can be some kind of a communication, like there can be a communication between you and me, in spite of essentially being the same. So it's one and it's two, both.
And why we are talking?
Why are we talking?
Yes.
Just to help that connection. We could also just keep quiet. We could just open everybody their camera and look at each other and keep quiet. But then, if in the mind, sometimes there are doubts. And if we talk about it, sometimes these doubts may disappear, and that makes it easier to be in connection.
Why I can feel connection as I know we are the one. There is no connection.
You know that we are the one, but you feel no connection, but you also don't feel disconnected, do you?
Yes, I feel disconnected myself,
Uh-huh.
but I can't feel the connection between you and me because we are the one. There is conception about it, so it's hard to understand in my mind now.
It's also not a question of understanding. Don't try too much to understand what is going on exactly with the mind. And then suddenly it's not a problem. It's one, it's two, both. No need of understanding.
Two body, but one mind, one soul, one God.
Not one soul, two souls, one essence. Same and yet unique. Like when you go out for your job and you are with people, do you feel the same thing? That you are one with them?
I feel the one attention uh, between people. Attention is one, so bodies maybe one, two, three.
Yeah.
But your attention and my attention, it is one, without without anything to understand about it.
Yes.
But what is the connection between you and me? So you and me, we understand the bodies. Your body is in India, my body is in Russia, but the mind is one. Mind connection. What is the connection? Connection is between the mind, but mind is one.
Hmm.
Not between the bodies.
Not
Maybe
between the bodies, no. Not between the minds also. There is not really such a thing like a mind. There is just that capacity to put consciousness into reasonable thoughts. But there is behind that, there is a being that is one with the essence, not separate. And because of that one with everybody, with everything, and yet is unique, has its own uniqueness. It's not the mind, it's not the body, it's prior to that. It's that is projecting a manifestation into this game, into this world. It's a being that has its own unique flavor of perception in the oneness, and there is absolutely nothing wrong. There is no separation, and yet there is something unique. That being that has been manifested as Ramana Maharshi is a unique being, although he's one with everything. That being that has been manifested as Sri Ramakrishna is another being. Essentially, they are the same, and yet they are unique. There is a connection, and there is a oneness. Is one, and there is two simultaneously. Are you there still? Because your picture is frozen. Oh, now it moves
yes.
again.
I don't understand anything. I don't what I feel. I don't understand. So
Mm. That's also
feeling is too hard, but mm, I don't understand feeling. So
yeah. And
don't understand myself.
you don't need to understand feeling. So you feel one, and then stay with that and let your life flow along, staying in that feeling of oneness. Not trying too much to understand. Just play the game in this magic show. It's a mystery. Is there anything else you want to say? Or you just like to be here now silent? Because
I don't know. I
if you
don't know.
if you don't want to say anymore, then maybe we leave it at that. And if somebody else would like to talk, we let them talk.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Hello, Nava.
Hi, Werner. Um, what you've just been talking about now, the sameness and yet the uniqueness, um, that comes to me at different times.
Mm.
At the same time, and these are the opposites inside of me, I've been dealing with more than ever with thoughts lately, with thinking.
Mhm.
And all the different ways of dealing with thinking, I'm finding ineffective. You know, watch the thoughts and replace just all of that. And it feels more and more like my thoughts are mostly controlling my life. And I find that even when a thought passes, I've only become aware of this lately, it leaves a vibration in my body.
Mhm.
And so even if I watch the thought come and go and all that, there's something left behind. And because my thoughts seem to be almost continuous, whether I'm meditating, whether I'm going through the day doing whatever I do, they're almost always there.
Mm.
And I'm finding it really frustrating, and I'm not quite sure what to do about it. Um,
We
so,
have we have been living our life not putting a stop to thoughts without thinking about it. It's just what people think the normal way of existing. It's not really the normal, but the usual way of existing. And then
mhm.
when you become more aware, and then you want to detach from the thoughts, then they still keep coming. Apart from that, we are on that mental level very strongly connected with the whole rest of humanity. And it's very restless, that common consciousness, that common human consciousness. There is so much restlessness and action and fear and everything there that makes people think and think and think. So the influence is very strong to be sucked into it. For that, I would recommend that instead of simply watching the thoughts, that you redirect your attention. Redirect it to the simple fact that as long as this body is there, you breathe in and you breathe out. So redirect the attention when you're struggling with the thoughts, instead of trying to control it, instead of slowing them down, stop giving them food. And we are giving them food by, in spite of not wanting them, we are still having the tendency to be interested in them. And if you withdraw that interest, then they have the tendency to slow down by themselves. And sometimes they may just stop. Redirect your attention to breathing. When you become aware, there I'm going and I'm thinking, and try to hold it, try to somehow detach from it, try to observe simply. Still, it goes on and on. So redirect the attention consciously. Breathe in, breathe out, relax. Breathe in, breathe out, relax. And then the mind goes again. And when you become aware, now I have again spent that much time just thinking, you do the same. Come back, breathe in, breathe out, relax, and be with that as good as you can. Breathing and relaxing. Breathe and relax. And then the thoughts gradually will slow down, and then sometimes there may be a bigger gap between thoughts.
When I meditate, I do that.
Yes.
Just keep going back to the breathing and back to the breathing. And again, it can be frustrating because it just doesn't seem to stop.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is, do I realize sooner or later that I'm thinking?
Yes.
Right? The thing that goes along with that is, if the thoughts stop even for seconds, often a lot of fear comes up.
Mm.
And I'm not quite sure what to do about that either, and why that even happens.
Why it happens, it's not a mystery, because exactly we are so used that in our waking state, as long as we are conscious, that thoughts are there all the time. It feels so familiar. It feels it's what is being alive. It's of course not true, but the habit is so strong that we associate being alive and conscious with thinking. Like the philosopher even says, Western philosopher, I think, therefore I am.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Well, we should learn to turn this around. I am, therefore I think. But then it's not, my existence is not dependent on that thinking. But the mind, our habit, our personality has been used to feel alive with thinking all the time. And then when it stops, when is a moment, no thoughts, then suddenly comes fear because, feels like life stops. Fear of annihilation. Of course, that which you are cannot be annihilated, but on the psychological level, that fear will come. And when that fear comes, then you do with that the same, like with other emotions in other situations. Then don't struggle with that fear. Let that fear come and see what it is doing to your experience right now. See how it is manifesting physically and energetically. And instead of getting all cramped up, learn to relax. And then it comes, and we are also not feeding the fear in that way, so it goes again. The more we can deal with those emotions in that way, the more it's possible to just let them come, see them, let them go like a puff of air without leaving a trace. But it's not unusual that fear comes when the mind stops, when the thoughts stop, that then what? Like that feeling of being alive has become so familiar with the fact that thoughts are going on all the time. Often we are frustrated because the same thoughts repeating themselves. Often we don't like what we are thinking, but still it feels so familiar, and there is a certain coziness in that. And then when that goes, then, but what now? Huh? Like something very precious is getting lost, but something that protects us, but it's not protecting us. It simply has the tendency to lock the consciousness into a little bubble. And then catching, starting to push the limit of that bubble, then comes a reaction. But no, 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 no. We want freedom. We long for freedom. We go to all these meditations and do all that to be free of all that. But then when it's really coming to the moment where we are pushing our usual limits, then it's like the old person comes quickly and says, no, 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 I didn't mean it like that.
Right, right.
So it will come. It may come. No problem. You let it come. You see it's coming. You see what it is doing. And instead of getting tense and struggling with it, you relax.
Okay.
And then you can not only in meditation, but also when you are busy with your daily life, when you become aware how much you are thinking, instead of struggling with the thoughts, also there, redirect the attention to breathing. You need not try to control it. If you're physically very active, then the breath will go faster. You just are aware of the breath. But actually, if we are watching the breath, even when we are active, it has the tendency without controlling to slow down and become deeper. And that is also helping the thoughts to slow down and get less overwhelming all the time.
One more question in connection to this.
Yes.
During meditation, at times, rather than taking the attention back to the breath, what do you think of focusing on something else? Like before, you were talking about we're all the same and yet we're all unique. And because that's an actual experience for me, I'm just giving that as an example. Is there value in sometimes actually putting the focus on something like that? I know some people have mantras. I don't have one, and but you know, I've thought in those terms of sometimes focusing somewhere else.
If that experience starts to rise, then the focus is by itself full there. And then you need not force yourself going back to the breath. It's just a means that I recommend that you use when you are frustrated with the thoughts that go on and on and on. But when that awareness that you describe, what we have been talking about, there is one and there is something unique, when it's not more a concept, when it's rising as an experience, then the thoughts are not a problem. Then the thoughts calm down by themselves. And then you can stay with them, being focused with that. And then it may go again and the thought starts, and there you can use your tools again, redirect the, if you can just drop the thoughts and come back, fine. But otherwise, you use your tool, redirect your attention to the breath and relax. But if something deeper comes by itself, then focusing on the breath, then you need not force yourself to stay with the breath.
What if the experience doesn't come up at the moment, but the memory of it is there and you just focus on it a little bit to see if it comes back?
You can do that. Yes, sure,
Okay.
sure,
Okay.
sure.
All
Not
right.
trying desperately to reproduce the experience, but when the memory of an experience comes and you just focus on that without trying to do something about it, that in itself may help to open the heart, that you can go deeper.
Okay.
Sure, you can do that. Hari
Thank
Om.
you.
You're
Hari
welcome.
Om.
Hari Om. Is there anyone else who would like to come and say something? Hello, Andreas.
Hello. I'm a little bit puzzled about, like, I use the breath to transcend the body, or or disidentify with the body. But the breath is, this seems something paradoxical.
Because after all, it's a physical thing. You're sucking in air and pushing out the air. Huh? but there is much more happening than that. When you are breathing, this is connecting different levels. It's also energetically doing something simultaneously. When you focus on the breath and not so much simply focus on the fact that the air is flowing in and the air is flowing out, but just on the breathing, and then you learn to relax in it more and more, you become aware, subtler, energetically, that the breath is not simply air going in and out, but it's an energetic movement. It's a manifestation of the force of life. And the force of life is an expression of the same essence. As much as consciousness is an expression of the same essence, so is the force of life. And by becoming aware of the subtler energy, then you are connecting with the essence. So breathing is certainly, consciously breathing is certainly a way to bring the attention back first to the present and then let it sink deeper and come back to the source, to that which makes the whole experience possible, to that which makes breathing possible.
Through becoming more subtle in the awareness of the breath, I can connect to the essence.
Yes, you are getting closer to the source. It's like out of that pure consciousness, energy, love, the whole creation, the whole experience emerges. At first it's subtle, and then it's eventually materializing in the gross form that we are experiencing through our senses. And by becoming subtler, it's still an expression, but it's like you are on the way home towards the source.
right now my meditation always a lot of times feels that I'm for a moment step out of my thoughts and become more focused on the actual experience, like the breath. And then, yeah, I slip back to the thoughts, and this goes back and forth. But over the time of the meditation, it deepens. But it is there a point when I have to let go of the breath?
No, you just can be with the breath, but if you are just getting quiet and simply are here, then that holding on to the breath drops off by itself. But it's not that you have to look for the way sign that tells you now it's the point to drop holding on to the breath.
No signals.
No signal there, no.
A lot of times it feels like my mind is opening up and getting more light,
Yes.
and but I can't stay there. Then the thoughts come in, and I get lost in the thoughts, and then I direct my attention to the breath, and so I'm always like slipping back and forth between focusing on physical sensations and opening up.
Mhm.
I just can open up, and yeah, some light. It's my mind gets lighter.
Yeah. And there you need not forcibly hold on to the breath. But then when you become aware, oh, I slipped out again, then you can use, as I said to Nawa, if that experience dawns, then you need not force yourself to hold on to watching the breath. Then you just are there. But then suddenly you become aware, I've already again been dreaming away. And there you can use your tool again. Redirect the attention to consciously breathe and relax.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hari Om.
Hello.
Hari Om. It's good to know that all our practices, they are just crutches. They are helps. If we could just drop all that stands in the way of being natural, being consciously alive, being here now, of just being, then we wouldn't need any techniques, any practices. All these techniques, all these different practices, they have that same essence, that same purpose to make it a bit easier to bring the attention back home to the essence. It's a tool. And then we can use that tool, and at a certain moment, it may not be necessary to hold on to the tool. We can just let it slip. But it's not that we have to somehow think, oh, now I'm using it, and then now it's time, I have to drop it. It's more like when your attention goes deeper, it may drop away by itself. Once Amma was talking to a man who was rather confused. He actually was a very spiritual man, a very sincere man, but he didn't go very reasonably about his practice, and he was quite imbalanced. And then she asked him, but he had another teacher who had passed away. And then she asked him, but you also got the mantra, so use the mantra. And he said, oh, my mantra dropped already. This is nonsense. It's not, if we have a tool like this, it's not that at a certain point you dropped it and then it's gone and you cannot use it again. It can, in your meditation, you use your tool, and then at a certain point it may drop by itself, because it's like your attention is going deeper and become so silent that you don't need to hold on to that tool anymore. But then when we find ourselves again back to the stone mill, back to turning round and round and round, there it's a nonsense thought like that man that he said, oh, my mantra dropped already so many months ago. It's not that that mantra drops and that's that. Then when the whole struggle starts again in the mind, then we can pick up our tool and use it again, until maybe in a meditation it's not necessary. There it's dropping by itself. So I mentioned now that anecdote with that mantra, but so it's with holding on to the breath. We can hold on to the breath as a means to redirect the attention, not to be so involved and interested in the mind. And then if we can relax in that, it has invariably the tendency that the attention is sinking deeper, that the experience becomes more profound. And eventually, by itself, that holding on to being aware of the breath will drop off. And you just are. It may last a moment, it may last for some time, but then we find ourselves again back, and the mind is thinking, and we say stop, and it doesn't stop. And then we can start again using that same tool that we have used before. Okay, I'm asking you again. Is there anyone who would like to come in? You're welcome. Hello, Mark. Are you trying to come in? Now somebody. If you,
Yes, I'm trying. Sorry for the disturbance.
yeah, but you didn't want to say anything, Mark.
No, hi Werner. No,
Hello,
I'm
hello, Mark.
enjoying very much just listening along at the moment. So, but my
Yes.
usual the electricity went off, and my battery died, and I lost you for a few minutes there.
Oh,
So I'm just in recovery modus here to
oh.
get.
Okay, okay, right. Then I have seen Hildegard, I think, coming.
Hi, Werner, and can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Hi, Werner, Hariom, and hi, everyone here listening to the Satsang. Before the program, my personal problem, no, it was no problem. My question also was about meditation, and I'm very grateful now to hear talking you and uh, the last thought was, have you a special recommendation for meditation? Your method, or is it so that every human being has its own way to meditate and its own method and art to meditate? When meditation for me is, when I practice, to sink in that flavor of love and this of love and peace. When it's not possible to sink in this deepness, and I often give up. I say, oh, it's not possible now to meditate. It's I'm not in. It's dance. Everything is dance by thoughts and other intentions to do that, or I often I give up. So no, it's not the time to meditate now. I have to do this and that and otherwise and so on. So often I take my guitar and sing some bhajans, or I do anything.
Yeah.
Instead of meditating and staying in the intention and staying in to calm down and give the place to the stillness and the peace of the stillness.
Yes. And now we are wondering whether you can do something for not giving up at that moment. Yeah.
To be here now is just a meditation. I feel it's still it's a meditation in this community now here.
Right.
The same peace.
Actually, every time you remind yourself, wherever you are, to be here now, this is a meditation, even if you are in a shopping center.
Yes.
But yes, then we connect, and this is also meditation, that conscious connecting. And then in your meditation, it happens, sometimes it works as you meditate, and then you're going deeper, and then sometimes it doesn't work as you would like, and then you give up. And there, it would be helpful if you pick up something to hold on to, a tool to hold on to, like you're not doing really self-inquiry. You just want to come to the peace and love. It's not by way of self-inquiry that you are doing that.
I learned to be aware of that. What is aware?
Yeah.
To think in awareness.
Yeah. Then you can also help yourself along in such a moment when it's not really working, that you use the question, but what is aware?
Yes.
And then you ask it again, not trying to figure out an answer, not trying to understand, simply redirecting the attention again in the right direction. When the restlessness comes and the thought, yeah, maybe I just could do something else, then you can think, but what is thinking? What is aware? And open the heart to that. And it may bring you back again, or even if it has not worked, slowly, if you do so, it may calm down and you may come back to that simple beingness.
And then there must be the confidence that this awareness will reveal itself.
Right. It's always there. It's never absent. We couldn't be conscious. My personal consciousness is that awareness. It's just that we feel that personal consciousness is different from that awareness, but it's basically the same. It's an expression of that same. And then when we get quiet, then the attention comes back from the thinking awareness to simple, pure awareness. It's not that sometimes you attain it and sometimes you don't attain it. It's always there first. We don't have to find it somewhere. We don't have to attain it. It's just elusive as long as the attention goes with the thoughts to so many things. As long as we are creating tensions and barriers, then it's evading, but it's still there. And then when when it doesn't want to reveal itself, just asking that question, but what is aware, may help you to just open up to that.
Without expecting a result of anything. Only to be aware.
And then not to help you not to immediately give up.
That's
Instead of
yes.
giving up, then you just do that. Use that tool to stay. But what is aware? And sometimes it may very quickly bring you back to that state of awareness and sometimes not. But at least you are not immediately giving up. But when you feel, okay, now it's time, then you can also say, okay, now it's time, and I get up. But then try to keep the meditation on, even if you become active. Even if you start to sing bhajans, that you still feel that sense of presence, that pure awareness.
It brings me nearer by singing, yes.
Yes, yes. Can help, yes. So when the thought comes, maybe it's not a good day, maybe it's not the time for meditating, but basically you wanted to sit. You don't have to force yourself, go on and on and on, but basically you wanted to sit and then it doesn't quite work as you want. And then comes the idea, oh, it's maybe not the day, maybe it's not the time. There, instead of giving way to that, maybe you just stay with that question, but what is aware? What is aware?
So it's a 24-hour meditation. Yes.
Right, whenever you remember, you can do that even when you are on the way, doing something. Try and see.
I try.
Yes, very
I will
good.
try.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you very much.
welcome. Hari Om. Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come? Just before?
Yes.
Mr. Anton.
Yes.
Hello.
Maybe not Anton.
Maybe not Anton.
It's only my name. I don't know who I am. So the question is about attention. few days ago, I put my attention in something, you know, as a God, and my energy was there. So I feel that I'm God. But now I know, but I don't feel.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on my energy, on my focus attention, and what is the connection, how to connect it, because at one at what depends. From what depended?
Whether you are experiencing it or not, on what does it depend? That's the thing. You cannot do it. It's not something that you can do. And yet, you still can do something about it. But you cannot do it. That is not in the hands of me and the personal will that I can do it, that you have that direct feeling, that awareness, that experience. But what you can do is make yourself available. If you feel you're feeling estranged, if you feel that, all right, it's there as a knowledge in the mind, I know it's there, but you don't experience it, what you can do is make yourself available. And you make yourself available by just coming back to that being in the present and relaxing in that as good as you can.
What means to be available to my body? It's exercises, Tai Chi, maybe some massage. So it's available of a body, available of a mind is to be in the present. So available in my heart or soul is to be opened. So these three things is to be available at all. Yes.
You can say so, but whatever you are doing, if it helps you to open your heart, if it helps you to be aware in the present, if it helps you to let go, to relax in that, then that is a help, is a means to be available. And different people are different, and so they're using different things. If exercise and massage helps you to be in the present, yes, why not? Yeah. What matters is that we somehow make ourselves available by opening the heart, that the possibility is there, that the direct, immediate experience can come. But you cannot produce it. You cannot do it. That's the thing. We can just be here and then it's open and it's like it's from the side of the divinity, the decision is made whether the experience comes, how profound it's being manifest, how long it goes. It's not something that we can consciously control or do. But what we can do, and what most of the people do all the time, is create a lot of obstacles that it cannot manifest. And then, if we see that there are obstacles coming up in the mind, that there are tensions there, we can see those and can learn to let go of those. There you become available.
Sometimes I can do it. I think it's so, because in pranayama, when you do it, you can comes to it. So when I sit, when my
it's just with the habit of using your pranayama, you have learned to make yourself easily available, and then it happens relatively easily when you do that pranayama, because you are already open that it works, and then you do it, and in doing so you make yourself available. But it's not under your control how deep you go, how long you stay, but you're using that tool to make yourself available. Pranayama in itself may already mentally change a bit the state, but that it really goes deeper, it's because you have practiced this and then gradually learned without having the idea. That is how you're making yourself available. And then it goes relatively easy. You set the stage, that much you can do, but the experience, it's not by your personal doing.
but I don't understand why there is no connection between you doing to be available, doing something to be available, and you have the results. So I feel this connection, but you say there is no connection. To be available, I can, I must make something with my mind. So I'm becoming more available. It's doing.
Yes.
So
Making yourself available is a doing, because we are doing the opposite. Something is happening that experience is not there, stable. And there is an unconscious doing there, and we neutralizing that unconscious doing by doing consciously something about it. It's what I say, you cannot do it. You are not in control of the result, but you can present yourself and the result starts to come, more or less, deeper, shorter, longer, that you are not doing.
why I can't do it more longer, to be opened, to be more available?
You asking why can you not do it, that it goes longer? Because somehow that one who wants to do something about it, that one who is doing, that one stays back. And the experience goes beyond that. The doer guy is not more there. Then it's just coming from, you can say, from the other side, from the inside. And why it is not staying longer, why it is staying short, there is no logic about it, and there's not something then that you can do about it, except what you can do, make yourself available again and again and again, and then the tendency is there that it comes more often, that it stays longer, but it's not something that you directly can control.
I don't understand how to make it free. So my mind is going to become available, so I'm doing it. So I'm available now. So mind, you are free. You say no. What to do with him? Because it's more harder from time to time.
What to do with the mind? Is that the
Yes.
question? Yeah.
because what I'm doing later, earlier, it doesn't work today, tomorrow.
Mhm.
So I'm available. So my mind is not quiet. I'm available, but my mind is also with me.
Yes, I mean, this is a way of talking. Making yourself available doesn't mean that you decide in your head, in your mind, okay, here I am, I'm available. It means exactly that when the mind is there and disturbing and creating obstacles, that we learn to deal with it in such a way that the attention can come back to the source instead of getting stuck with the thoughts and the mental level.
So how to be available without mind?
How to be available with that mind? You detach from that
Without.
mind. You detach from
Yeah.
that mind. You,
Yes,
you,
I'm catched. I'm in a prison.
you stop being interested in all the thoughts. So after all, what is the mind? It's just the thoughts. One thought following another, then we say that's the mind. And as long as it goes on, then we find a way to detach from that, to redirect the attention to that which makes the experience possible. And even the attempt is already starting to make you available. Do you do pranayamas regularly?
I do pranayama as my body wants. I do something.
Mhm. But you're not having like a regular daily program of pranayamas?
No,
No,
no.
and you never had. You just used to do the pranayama when it came through your mind to do the pranayama.
Yes, when my mind and body wants,
Uh-huh.
I do pranayama. If it doesn't want, I don't do it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Because pranayama generally is rather, you have learned that from a teacher or it came up spontaneously?
Sometimes spontaneously, some exercises is from my teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I want my body decide it. So I hear it and feel how it wants to breathe.
And you have been doing this for quite, this has been happening for quite some time.
Sometimes I'm quiet, but
I mean, has this been happening for a longer time? That sometimes this pranayama comes.
pranayama comes through meditation to make it longer, to make if my mind is active, so body makes pranayama sometimes.
Антон Вернер спрашивает, как долго ты практикуешь? Сколько лет примерно, сколько месяцев?
Pranayama?
Yeah.
Not so long.
Not so long. It's just,
Yeah.
it sprang up recently. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not not every day.
Yeah. Anyhow, what I recommend, if you want to go more into that, simply if you want to go more into that, I would have a certain little program that you practice every day, whether at that moment your body wants it or not.
Yes, I want. What is it?
That every day you have a program of this, it can be a relative little program of pranayamas that you are doing regularly, day after day after day. And then you can still be open that spontaneously, when it comes on top of that, let it happen. But it's better that if you do these kind of things, that you have a certain basic regularity that is much more wholesome for the body and the subtle body.
Yes. Okay, teach me, please.
I am not going to teach you pranayamas. You say you already learned a set of pranayamas from your teacher. So you can use those pranayamas that you like and create from that your own program and do that every day for some time. And then apart from that, if in your meditation the pranayama comes spontaneously, you can let it happen.
Are you doing pranayama? Or maybe did?
I did, yes. Now it has become so natural that the breath has become so naturally the vehicle that breathing is very conscious. Okay, we drop the subject, huh?
I feel you're so close in me. But I don't understand why you are the different body.
You start that again. So don't understand.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
let's stop
Okay.
this.
Yes, yeah, okay.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Anyhow, I started this satsang talking about confidence, self-confidence. It is so necessary that we develop that self-confidence. And we develop that self-confidence by learning to be in the present, learning to relax as good as we can, even if we feel the situation has the tendency to become tense. Even if the situation is tense, that we learn to relax in that tension and be in touch with life, with the flow, here now. And then the self-confidence comes all by itself and getting stronger and stronger. I wish you all well. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.